Life can change in an instant. One moment you're on top of the world, everything going according to plan. The next, the ground gives way, and you're free falling into the unknown. This is a story about that fall, but more importantly, it's about what happens when you land, when you have to pick up the pieces and figure out how to live again. It's the story of a man who faced the unimaginable and emerged not just a survivor, but a man with a new, profound purpose. Before the accident, John's life was, by all accounts, perfect. He had a great job in finance, a beautiful family, and a passion for adventure. Weekends were for hiking, climbing, and exploring the great outdoors. He was the kind of person who seemed to have it all figured out, living life to the fullest. He had goals, ambitions, and a clear path laid out before him. Life was a thrilling ascent, and he was climbing fast. But as any mountaineer knows, the higher you climb, the harder you can fall. It was a crisp autumn morning, perfect for a challenging solo hike. John was navigating a familiar but tricky mountain ridge, a route he'd tackled before. He felt a surge of adrenaline, the familiar thrill of pushing his limits, but then a loose rock. A misstep. In a split second, the world turned upside down. He tumbled down a steep, rocky ravine, the sound of snapping branches and his own sharp cries echoing in the sudden, terrifying silence that followed. He lay there, broken and disoriented, as the world faded to black. The odds of anyone finding him were slim. The odds of surviving his injuries were even slimmer. When he woke up, the first thing he saw was the sterile, white ceiling of a hospital room. The steady beeping of machines was the new soundtrack to his life. Doctors, with grim faces, explained the extent of his injuries. Multiple fractures, internal bleeding, a severe spinal cord injury. The word paralysis hung in the air, a heavy, suffocating cloud. They told him he was lucky to be alive, a phrase that felt more like a cruel joke than a comfort. The man who once conquered mountains couldn't even move his own legs. The path he had so clearly envisioned was gone, replaced by an endless, flat, and sterile hospital floor. The initial days turned into weeks, then months of grueling physical therapy. Each tiny movement was a monumental victory. Learning to sit up, to transfer from his bed to a wheelchair, these were his new mountains to climb. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the mental and emotional abyss he'd fallen into. The vibrant, confident man was replaced by a shadow of his former self, filled with frustration, anger, and a deep, gnawing despair. He saw the worry in his family's eyes, the pity in his friends. He felt like a burden, a ghost haunting his own life. The question wasn't, will I walk again? But who am I now? It was during his darkest moment, late one night in the quiet of his hospital room, that something shifted. He was staring out the window at the city lights, feeling utterly alone when a nurse came in. She didn't offer empty platitudes or forced cheerfulness. Instead, she sat with him and simply listened. She talked about other patients she'd known, people who had faced similar, life-altering challenges and had gone on to live rich, meaningful lives. For the first time, John saw a flicker of a different kind of possibility. It wasn't about getting his old life back. It was about building a new one. This was the turning point. John started to channel his immense determination, the same drive that pushed him up mountains, into his recovery. But this time it was different. He wasn't just focused on his own progress. He started paying attention to the other patients in the rehab ward. He saw the same fear and despair in their eyes that he had felt in his own. He started talking to them, sharing his own struggles, his small victories. He organized informal support groups in the common room, creating a space where people could be vulnerable without judgment. He discovered a surprising new strength, not in his legs, but in his ability to connect with and uplift others. Leaving the hospital was another kind of beginning. The world outside wasn't designed for a wheelchair, a constant reminder of his limitations. But John refused to see barriers. He saw opportunities for change. He started a blog, documenting his journey with raw honesty and humor. He wrote about the daily challenges, the emotional roller coaster, and the surprising moments of joy. His story resonated with thousands of people around the world, not just those with disabilities, but anyone facing a struggle. He was no longer just John, the accident survivor. He was becoming a voice of hope and resilience. His blog evolved into a full-fledged foundation. John began advocating for better accessibility in public spaces, working with city planners and businesses. He developed peer-to-peer mentorship programs, connecting newly injured individuals with seasoned survivors who could offer practical advice and emotional support. He gave talks at schools and corporations, not about the fall, but about the power of perspective. His message was simple: your circumstances don't define you, your response to them does. He found that in helping others find their way, he had truly found his own. His purpose wasn't at the peak of a mountain, but in the valley, helping others learn to navigate their own difficult terrain. Today, John says he wouldn't trade his experience for anything. It's a shocking statement, but he means it. The accident took his ability to walk, but it gave him something far more valuable: a profound sense of purpose. He found a deeper, more meaningful connection to humanity. He learned that true strength isn't about physical ability, but about vulnerability, compassion, and the courage to build a new life from the wreckage of the old. His scars are not reminders of what he lost, but symbols of what he has gained. He is a testament to the idea that sometimes our greatest falls are what teach us how to truly fly. Thank you so much for watching and sharing in this incredible story of resilience. If you were moved or inspired, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel for more stories that matter. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay strong and keep climbing.